I had to change. I couldn't stay the same. When I grew up in an environment where boundaries, or the word boundaries, was a foreign term. Nobody knew about it. And I was raised, you lay your life down. You live a sacrificial life. You never say no. You don't have needs, because to have needs is to be selfish. To not to put every person around you first is also to be self-centered. And I didn't know I had needs. I didn't know I was allowed to communicate it. By the time that I started to go out and have relationships with men and with friends many times, I ended up in abusive situations, verbally abusive, and I didn't understand that I could say no, and that actually no is a full sentence, and that I'm allowed to use it without feeling guilty. I got married, and I realized that I really need to apply boundaries for myself in my marriage, because we were faced with challenges in our marriage. I started to read about boundaries, and when I applied boundaries, I made every mistake possible. And it was for me to punish my husband, to change my husband, to correct him, and it was nothing about me. And I actually believed if he changed, everything would be okay. But I had a surprise, because I realized that boundaries was about me. I had to change. I had to grow in respecting myself. I had to discover my needs. I had to understand myself. I had to know what values I have, and what do I value in life, and what did I sign up for when I got married, what were my dreams and my expectations. And I started to work on boundaries, but to my surprise, it was much more about myself, nothing about the person next to me. And the more I got healed, he had to change or leave, because I couldn't put up with the things I used to put up before. I discovered along in this journey that even Jesus had boundaries. He said to his disciples, no, it was not his time to go. Or when they tried to push him to take the throne and to be the leader, he said no, he couldn't do that. He didn't give in to the demands of the masses. That really helped me to understand that he understands me and knows why I have to say no. But I blocked my heart, I walled myself off. When I applied boundary work, I could grow within myself. And one of the wonderful things I've learned through boundaries was to communicate boundaries in an effective way. How to know what I need and how to communicate it. And I can't say I'm perfect in everything, but I'm still growing. But it's been a wonderful journey for me. I just find myself now saying to people, I can't do this, or I cannot be there. Can we reschedule another time? Or I can't do this. This is beyond me. This is too much for me. And I don't feel guilty. I don't feel selfish. I don't feel self-centered. I can do it with freedom. I had to learn that I had to grow up. And the more healthy I got, the easier it was for me to say no, and to say when I can do a thing and when I can't do a thing. I'm now respecting myself. I'm respecting my husband. I have respect for my marriage, and I didn't have it before. But boundaries help me to recover that, and to restore that in my life. Boundary work is the most effective self-care tool that one can have in your life. It helped me to look after myself when there was nobody there to look out for me. It's incredible the result of boundaries, good boundary work in your marriage, because the person next to you has to change or leave. You actually create a space for them to carry the weight of their choices and what they do wrong. And through boundary work, you actually help your partner to be faced with his choices in life and what he can do with it by removing yourself from that space. And even today, my husband says to me many times, he says to me, you know what? When you did boundaries in the wrong way, I was angry. But when you were consistent and you did boundary work in a healthy way with respect, it changed. I had to change. I couldn't stay the same because he carried the weight of his choices. I want to encourage you to look into boundaries and come with us on this journey.